Anyone who has seen the Dune movies or read the books knows that its entire galaxy runs on a single substance. You've seen what it does. It's the stuff that makes Paul see the future, and a whole lot of Zendaya, gives the Bene Gesserit their mind-bending foresight and powers impossible space travel. It's the very backbone of their incredibly advanced civilization. Yeah, we're talking about spice. So here's the burning question. Why does the most essential reality-bending substance in the galaxy lead to nothing but endless, brutal war? Why is the one thing that should unite everyone actually tearing the universe apart? The real reason, trust me, isn't about its magic at all. It's something far older, far more cynical, and has repeated in history over and over again. And today we're going to unpack that reason and show you exactly why the drama over spice is a pattern so much bigger than you think. So the story of Dune begins with this massive political event. The Emperor is taking the entire planet of Arrakis away from the brutal House Harkonnen and giving it to their sworn enemies, the noble House Atreides. Now on the surface, Arrakis is a god-forsaken wasteland. It's a planet of endless sand and giant killer worms. So why is this handover treated like the most significant event in a generation? Why is this desolate rock the single greatest prize in the entire universe? Well, the Harkonnens were getting obscenely rich mining the spice, and now the Atreides are meant to take their place. But even this simple handover is anything but. The Harkonnens don't just pack their bags. On their way out, they strip the operation for parts and leave behind sabotaged equipment. And Duke Leto's plan isn't just to replace them. He believes House Atreides can do better. Optimize production, run the operation more efficiently, and maybe even earn the trust of the native Fremen. But here's the thing. All of this, the sabotage, the fight for production quotas, the immense profits, it's all a distraction from the real game. The real reason is the galaxy's most dangerous and closely guarded secret. It's not about getting rich from spice, it's about the terrifying leverage it gives you. Let's pull back the curtain. Forget the great houses for a second, they're just pawns. The real power in the Dune universe is held by a select few. First, you have the Spacing Guild. They have a complete monopoly on interstellar travel, but their navigators can only do this because of spice. Without a constant supply, their giant ships are just dead metal floating in space. The Guild, the very fabric of society, ceases to exist. Then you have the mysterious Bene Gesserit Sisterhood. Their influence is woven through every great house, playing a centuries-long game of politics. Their power, their foresight, their control is unlocked by spice. Without it, their whispers turn to silence. Even the unnaturally long lives of the Emperor and the nobility depend on it. Do you see the pattern? It's not a resource, it's a chokehold. The most powerful organizations in the universe are all utterly, hopelessly addicted to a single substance that comes from a single planet. This isn't a war for profit, it's a war of existential terror, because the true value of spice isn't found in using it. It's found in the threat of denying it to others. And this strategy, of turning a vital resource into the ultimate political weapon, was perfected 2,000 years ago, not on a desert planet, but right here on Earth. Welcome to the Roman Empire. The city of Rome was a metropolis of over 1 million people, and they all needed to eat. The solution was the grain dole, a government program that fed hundreds of thousands of citizens to keep the peace. And where did most of this vital grain come from? A single province, Egypt. Egypt was Rome's Arrakis. It was the sole indispensable source for the resource that kept the heart of the empire beating. The first emperor, Augustus, understood this completely. After conquering it, he made Egypt his own personal property. Senators weren't even allowed to travel there without his direct permission, because he knew that if a rival ever gained control of Egypt's grain supply, they could starve Rome into submission. They could hold a knife to the throat of the emperor himself. Control of the grain meant control of the empire, but controlling the resource was only half the battle. The real genius was in how Roman emperors controlled their rivals. And for this, we have the tragic and very real story of the superstar general Germanicus. Germanicus was the nephew and adopted son of the Emperor Tiberius. He was charismatic, wildly popular, a military hero, the Duke Leto Atreides of his day, and the emperor hated it. Tiberius was paranoid and resented Germanicus's popularity, seeing him not as family, but as a political rival. So Tiberius used a cunning strategy. He sent Germanicus to govern the rich eastern provinces. And at the exact same time, he appointed a bitter rival, a man named Gnaeus Calpurnius Piso, as the new governor of Syria, right next door. Piso's unofficial job, to undermine Germanicus at every turn. In October AD 19, Germanicus died. But on his deathbed, he openly accused Piso of poisoning him. The death of this beloved hero was widely seen as a crime, sparking a massive public scandal. The outrage led to Piso's public trial and his subsequent suicide. And the Emperor Tiberius? His own hands remained technically clean, but historians have long suggested that he either ordered the assassination or, at the very least, orchestrated a cover-up of his own involvement. Now look at Dune. It's the exact same playbook. Emperor Shaddam IV, terrified of Duke Leto's popularity, sends House Atreides to the deadly province of Arrakis. He uses their bitter rival Baron Harkonnen, his Piso, as the weapon to destroy them. And by the way, the Harkonnens' unique brand of brutality has its own fascinating Roman parallels. We actually covered that in a previous video, breaking down the shocking similarities between the Baron and the notoriously cruel Emperor Caligula. If you're into seeing these historical patterns in your favorite stories, now is a great time to hit that subscribe button. I'll put a link to that video up on the screen and in the description below. The resulting public scandal and war is all part of the Emperor's plan. His hands remain technically clean, but his involvement is the dark secret at the heart of the story. The key here is that he uses the Harkonnens' greed as his perfect weapon, even lending his own elite Sardaukar troops to their attack. The fiefdom of Arrakis wasn't a prize. It was an execution chamber, cleverly disguised. The war that followed wasn't a breakdown of the political system, it was the system. This Roman strategy of divide and rule is the engine that drives the conflict in Dune. The Emperor's primary goal is to make sure no single house can challenge him, so he pits them against each other, using their hatred and ambition as his weapons. It's a galactic balancing act where the scales are balanced with assassination, betrayal, and open warfare. The conflict never stops because the moment it does, it means someone is consolidating power. And in this universe, consolidated power over the spice is a death sentence for everyone else. So, the true lesson of Dune is a stark political truth laid bare by the Roman Empire 2 millennia ago. When a resource becomes truly indispensable, its greatest power is not in its use, but in the ability to withhold it. It becomes the ultimate tool of control. The endless drama over spice is a chilling reflection of our own history, a timeless pattern of how a gift can be forged into a weapon. And this is just one piece of the puzzle. The parallels between Dune and ancient Rome run incredibly deep, and we're planning to make this a whole Dune and Rome series. So if you want to be the first to see our next video exploring those connections, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. What other historical patterns do you see in Dune? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.